Fuck the clip. Hi, this is my first talking video. I've been having the urge to yap. I've had a couple things on my mind for like the past year, and I feel like maybe just talking today through them would be a good time to share. In a few weeks marks the first year that I've officially started working full time. So I think I've had a lot of time to reflect once I've gone out of college on how I kind of just I'm feeling. I'm happy to be outside because today I was a doom scroller, unfortunately. And I started to realize, like, this is not good for my brain. I think times are changing. I'm trying to try something new. And this is totally uncomfortable for me. But if I don't change, how am I going to grow as a person? Okay. In the past year, I've had to really kind of develop myself in this way on what makes me a good person, what kind of friend I want to be to others, like how do I make the most of this life that we're living. I guess being able to create your own structure to your life kind of unveils what you really prioritize and what fulfills you the most. I think a lot of social media is like abundance, like highlights and friends and connections and all these things. A lot of times we don't really know what love is fulfilling for us. At least for me, you're like young, you kind of just go with what feels good. And I think everybody should go with what feels good. But over a time, you start to learn like, what are some things that you can handle long term and things you can't handle long term. And I think in the past year, I have been not really hanging out with as many people as like I was in college, and I was just going through like a lot of different things as compared to my friends because I was one of the only people in my group that had graduated and is going into a field that the rest of my friends aren't really in. And so I kind of had to figure that out alone. I was moving out by myself and it was lonely. I feel like a lot of stuff can be really overwhelming, especially like living in a new city for the first time with no purpose as like a student and like as actually working. And now you got to make a living. Now you got to get an apartment. Now you got to, like grind, 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 as like society says. But I always knew that I was a dilly dallyer in that sense. And I don't know, I feel like grind culture is like not really my forte. Hey. So the experience of learning is really weird. That man walking behind me just threw me off. I'm scared. But I'm not scared because I'm also safe and I'm freaking strong. So, actually, yeah. So, a big part of the past year has been learning how to talk myself up just because I've been alone. Like, I haven't had that support, I feel like, from friends where, like only you can really build yourself up. At the end of the day, you can't have other people to reassure you or make you feel some type of way. A lot of that growth journey is learning how to self talk and talk yourself out of like really negative times. And I think this past year has been so crazy for me in the sense of like I was probably at my lowest after I graduated, just in terms of relationships and like what I wanted to do. And I feel like a lot of people relate to that as well. And, I started going to therapy, I started talking to my journal all the time, like, that wellness shit. And like honestly, it really helped. It really turned me out for the best. And I think I've changed so much since that time in my life where I just didn't really like know what I was working towards. And I guess like now I'm just trying to find peace. I wrote a few things down that to maybe help direct me in what I should talk about. Let me check if this is recording. Okay. This is my new journal. Do you like it? It's like ingrained in the leather, which is really cool. For me, my college experience was kind of similar to high school because I went to like a smaller university where once people found their friend group, everybody kind of stuck. But also, I feel like I wasn't the most outgoing person in that sense. I feel like I found a solid friend group and I stuck with it because I just was scared to venture out. And people are scary to talk to. It's hard to make friends. And also, like, I feel like sometimes insecurity would get the best of me in terms of like overthinking the vibe. I guess I wasn't that open arms to a lot of people, which is valid because I feel like a lot of people are the same. But yeah, I think that circles back to just getting really comfortable in my early years with like one solid friend group and being okay with that. Friendships are really hard. I feel like sometimes you just grow out of people, and sometimes like you grow with people and you have phases with your friends. Like my best friend, I hadn't talked to her like through most of college, and then once I graduated, I had the flu. I FaceTimed her once, and then like we've been FaceTiming ever since. So you kind of just learn to reconnect with people and see the relationships that like truly support you and bring out when you're authentic and like bring out like your happiest sense of self, and just those friends that like you love and like return to a lot. So yeah, that was one thing that I learned. I just got comfortable really early and didn't really care to venture out because I thought I found my people. You should definitely try new things. And today, like me coming out, that's like trying something new. Another thing with getting comfortable too early, I feel like I had a very like strong friend group in terms of like strong personalities, and I'm pretty like laid back in the sense where I just kind of absorb and I observe versus like have such strong opinions. And so a lot of times I would let those opinions become my thoughts, and I feel like I would just let things flow and then maybe realize later like, I feel like I don't agree with that, or I feel a different type of way towards that. And then I wouldn't really know how to talk about that because when we talked about it initially, it would just be like, well, you were fine with it then. But that's just me thinking internally. Just like being easily influential. And I think that also comes with just being like a naive young adult. You're like, oh, like what you said is so true. Like I totally get what you mean, which is cool because like relatability is a really nice skill to have. I think that's what connects you with a lot of people too, but also like knowing what you value and not making like what other people say like your opinion is really important. Like you should have your own thoughts, like make up your own mind, like think about your own things and know what the fuck you're talking about. Because if you just go ahead and say like, yeah, 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 all the time to whatever is being told to you, like, do you even really have a brain at that point? Like, are you really like processing what the heck is being said and like, like form an opinion? And with people having different opinions, everyone also has different goals. Everybody's come from like different walks of life. Sometimes would get advice that I didn't really particularly find helpful because it's not something that I would really do because everybody has different goals. You can't listen to every single opinion that comes towards you or every single piece of advice. Like just because you see advice online, just because your friends give you advice doesn't mean that you should always listen to them. But also I feel like a good friend would cater their advice to like actions that you would actually do as yourself and not advice that they would do if you don't really feel like you can relate to them in that sense. The whole thing about like having different friends for different friend groups, I've seen people argue that why do you have to kind of categorize your friends in that way? But I've also seen people be like, it's totally fine to have different friends for different things. And I agree and disagree. You can totally have friends for different things, but also the core of each friendship should be a shared understanding of like what morals you have and like what to you defines like a good friendship. I think to me a good friend is like somebody who knows how to communicate and connect emotionally. I feel like that's so important. I can't just have like a friend who I just like hang out with for fun. Otherwise, like I just associate you with whatever the activity was, because a friend to me is like somebody who like truly cares for me and also wants to see me thrive and like is genuine and honest to me. I don't know. I'm just also like a really sensitive person, so I feel like I can't just constantly be around somebody who's running away from their emotions. And like I don't know, I just like to be like a safe space for a person. Like yes, you can tell me anything, like I will relate to you and like empathize and validate you in the beginning. Like everybody's feelings are valid towards like a lot of things that they go through, but also like in the end I will tell you like where you did wrong, as long as you give me like the space to say that. Because like I don't know, if you've ever clocked somebody and then they just kind of shied away from it, it doesn't really make it feel like an open space to talk about it. And it's okay to bring up things or okay to talk about things, but like it only works if it's mutual. Because if I'm pouring my heart to you and I feel like you're hiding a lot of what you have, it's like, well, now the tea feels like my tea. And then like what the hell is going on with you? Like I want to know. A lot of my self discovery also was like how I present. I don't know. I guess like when I was younger, I was always very tomboy, and I think one thing that I really struggled with during my college years was like how feminine is like comfortable for me. And I feel like that's like digging so deep into it because it's like girl dress however you want, but also like it is our nature to compare ourselves with other people. Another thing to go with comparison would be Instagram, that fucking cursed app. I re-downloaded it recently and all I go on there for is reels. And people shit on reels, but it's probably a you problem because my feed is pretty curated to like silly stuff. But yeah, downfall of Instagram. I've seen so much content about how people are like, "Oh my god, I had to deactivate Instagram," or like, "Fuck Instagram," because I don't even know about half these people on here. Like, I don't even care about the people following me on me. Like, there's a discourse between why close friends is a thing because then that people don't really want to see everything about somebody's life all the time. And the pros is like you get to connect with people, but the cons is like you're constantly like, damn, should I post? Like, oh, this picture looks like all fucked up, or like I didn't repost her post. Like, is she gonna think I'm like shady, or like I didn't comment on her selfie? Like, is she gonna think this and blah blah blah? And like, oh my gosh, whatever. That's just so annoying. It's like a world outside of a fucking world, and like I just can't be bothered sometimes. I mean, I love it. As I said, like I love a cute sleigh, but once we get into the nitty gritty, and I'm over here like two blinkers deep, like, girl, we're not coming back from this. But yeah, another thing that I've been working through is my communication style. After going to therapy a lot, I started to realize, like, I can have power in the sensitivity that I have and learn how to communicate that healthily and be like a secure person. I'm a Pisces, so I feel like I my mind it goes like a million miles a minute when it comes to overthinking, and I also think I have ADHD, but who the fuck doesn't these days? Being like a really sensitive person and somebody who overthinks a lot and trying to learn how to communicate my emotions like really really healthily also comes with the fact that sometimes you have to stand up for yourself in times where it's really hard. I've had so many situations throughout my college experience where I had like some sort of feelings towards somebody and I'd be like, well, I addressed it, but like I feel like they just didn't really understand the first time I addressed it. And then after that first time where I put in the effort to go in, I'd be like, damn, like it's over. Like I feel like I don't really care to talk to you anymore because like you clearly didn't make an effort towards like what I had to say. And I mean, it's so hard. I feel like it's so freaking hard to initiate yourself to have that hard conversation with like the person that you're dealing with, whether it be like a loved one or I don't know, a roommate. Like it's hard to sometimes learn to speak up for yourself, especially growing up as like such a people pleaser. I was definitely that character. I also see so much content about like, girl, you don't owe anything to your friends. Like you don't have to explain yourself all the time. Like remove yourself when you feel like a situation is veering towards toxic. And I feel like there's like a certain time where you've tried enough and like you should remove yourself from anxious environments. And then also there's a time where like some people don't really take accountability and like how they affected a situation. I always teeter between like I could have done more versus like I tried. um and so that's like been a constant thing for me because like it's hard to it's I don't know, it's like learning to speak up for yourself is like a learned skill. Standing up for yourself but also doing it in a healthy way is like even more like queen shit because anybody can explain themselves in a crash out mode, I feel like, because then it explodes. Like, like you've held it in for so long and shit explodes, which has happened to me before. And I'm not like super proud of it. I mean, but I'm proud of like letting my feelings out in a way. But sometimes I feel like ugh, if I went about a situation in a certain way, then like I would have saved myself like the heartache from loss. And so that's something that I'm having to learn to be patient with myself too. I feel like there's a certain line, as I said, between taking accountability, but also like there's never going to be like a black and white side to things all the time. As much as you want it to work out, as much as you tried, even if that was like you just explaining how you feel and like you felt it for enough time where your body realizes like this isn't this the match for you, then like go on ahead, girl. I wish I could be a more direct person, but I'm still learning that and I'm doing my best, so I can't even be mad. My next point in here is that it's sexy to be self assured, which is so true. Like, you don't need others' opinions, negative or positive, to affect your self worth. I saw a video on TikTok that was this girl saying, like, if somebody talks shit about you, that shouldn't change the way that you see yourself. And if somebody compliments you or talks positive about you, that shouldn't change the way you see yourself, because your self assurance to know that, like, you are the person that you say you are and you are the person that does the things that you do is the real queen shit, because you're not placing value on other people's opinions on what makes you worthy as a person and what doesn't make you worthy. I think that's what I think that's kind of what we all strive for, like confidence within ourselves, confidence and within our capabilities. So that's what I'm also been trying to learn. There's more that I wrote about, but I already feel like I've talked my ear off. Life is all about learning. Relationships are all work. Like, even if you think they're low maintenance, like, keep in touch with the people that you care about because you care about them, and don't hang out with people just because you're out of people to hang out with. You control your environment. You are not bound to people. You don't owe people your presence if it is not filling your cup. Like, and it's okay to try new things. It's okay to be different sometimes. It's okay to want more for yourself. Just little by little every day. Just forgive yourself for, like, the things that you do that sometimes, like, aren't right. And, like, if you need to exit a situation, fucking leave. Like, you don't have to stay. Like, sometimes peace is better than chaos with people. But yeah, I'm gonna go now. It's starting to get a little bit buggy and muggy. Gonna probably eat my watermelon and then read for, like, the next, like, 20 minutes, and then not even 20 minutes, maybe like 10, and then head out. Thanks for listening to me. If you're going through something similar, you got this. Okay, bye. Love you.